ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. ASAP, ASAP, ASAP.
What's up, guys? I want to welcome you to the first ever episode of Huddle Up, the podcast. Okay. My name is Byron Johnson. To my left, I have T. Mana. That's it? Terry Mana. Oh, God. Yeah. To my right,
Chris King, the one, the only, you already know.
All right. Guys, I just want to thank you for tuning in to this very first episode. This is amazing. It's something we've been working on for a while. So let me give you a quick background. The reason why we call this podcast Huddle Up, we all have a football background. That's kind of where our relationship as friends intertwined in a sense. And so, in a huddle, it's one of the most important things in football. Why? Because that's where you get your game plan. That's where you get your play. That's where you get the job that you have to execute. And so, when you come into the huddle, the quarterback or the coach, whoever is leading, they give you a particular assignment or job. If I'm the quarterback, I may tell Chris, go right and run a slant. Or I may tell him, go left and run a button hook. I have to drop back, read my progressions, read the defense, and hit the right guy. Everybody has a job. And one of the best parts about the huddle is the fact that within the huddle, we're all close. Everybody has a chance to hear each other get their specific job assignments. And so that way we can hold each other accountable, which is one of the biggest parts and one of the main reasons why we started this podcast. Accountability. Why do men need accountability? And I want to pass this first question off to my man, to my right, the one and only Chris King. Chris?
So yeah, that's the first question we're going to talk about, is really just why accountability is so important, just amongst men. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I think accountability is so important is that, one, we were never created to do life alone, whether that be, a male and female relationship in a marriage, or whether it be just friendship, iron sharpens iron. We were never created just to go through life in isolation and just get through it by ourselves, because honestly, we all go through the same things. In one shape or another, we all gonna, see hardships, we're all gonna go through, difficult times. And that's why, God has put us together with certain people and certain relationships in our life so that they can help us and we can help them. It's a push and pull. So I definitely think, that's the main reason why, one, accountability is necessary, and two, why it's important is just, we gotta keep each other on point. You know what I mean? When other people are watching and is gonna call you out, then you're a little, like you said, we're teammates, right? And I'm not giving my 100% in practice. I would hope you being as my teammate and want to see us win and do better against the competition on Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights. You're going to call me out on that. You know what I mean? And that's essentially going to do what? Make the team better as a whole. So I think that's why it's so important that, men, first of all, be accountable towards each other. Whether it be young men, whether it be mid, age men, or, older men. I think we all need to be accountable to, some group of other, godly men, of course, like that's going in the right direction.
No doubt. The deal is football is just a great teacher of life. When you're by yourself, you got the ability to hide.
Absolutely.
When you got people around you that's counting on you, and y'all put a mission together in your head, you'll be a coward if you let them down.
Absolutely.
If you sit there and would want to be lackluster, and you be the reason why the people around you can't hit your goal, and you had a choice. It's either like, I'm going to do everything in my power to help this group reach a goal, or I'm going to be the reason why it's getting behind.
Right.
That's why the accountability is important. And it took me going through life. It took me, and this is still an everyday walk. We still got to get better with things. But my biggest progress came when I realized it's bigger than me. We're here for a mission. We're here to advance the Lord's kingdom. And the only way we can do that is if we hold each other accountable. The Lord's kingdom is plural. The Lord's kingdom isn't single. It's going to take everybody pulling each other along, because when one man's up here, somebody's down there. But if somebody's down there, that means the kingdom's down there too. Right. We have to advance it together. And that same philosophy holds true in football, in business, in anything. why would you want somebody to not be on the same page? If somebody gets ahead, you should be picking up. If somebody's down, you should be able to ask for help if people are truly who they say they were.
Yeah.
So just being around good men, being around good mentors is one of the most important things that we can have in this lifetime.
I think accountability is just, amongst men for sure, just because we have so many different things going on, you know what I mean? We have things going on in our spiritual life, we have things going on in our relationships, family, friends, girlfriends, wife, kids, whatever you name it, and it's important, I think, in society, you see the way things, go sometimes, we don't necessarily have people that we go to keep it real with us sometimes, you know what I mean? And like you said, Chris, we're all going through the same things. I think, there's times when me and you have had conversations, and as long as we have been friends, there's things that we have never talked about, you know what I mean? And then we got to the point where we started talking about things, and, I think about, last year, we did an accountability group together. And I mean, we ended up doing pretty decently, right. But this year we added 6-7 more guys to it, you know what I mean? So we're up in the power, and for me personally, man, I can tell you, like, as far as, like you said, not wanting to let the group down, there's definitely times where, I had like weak moments at times where I felt like, it was difficult for me to go on, but just not wanting to be, it's a little bit of peer pressure, just not wanting to be that guy that, lets the whole group down, you know what I mean? And I hope that we're being honest with each other and keeping it real. If you are struggling, that's okay. But the thing is, it does put a little bit of pressure on you. It's like having a big brother or something like that. Like your big brother, he got a scholarship in football. If you're the little brother, you want to get, you want to up that ante a little bit. So
the craziest thing, bro, is we follow this model with everything else. We're open to following it with anything else. We will go to school and want to make good grades because we don't want to drop off. We would go to football practice every day and lift weights because we don't want to be weak. Why don't we try and find every single way that we can get better at serving the Lord? Right. Why is that one of the things that we just kind of put on the background? You go wake up and go to work on Monday. You go give your all for a company.
I think it's because we take it for granted. I think, one thing I've been saying a lot this year is you have to seek to evolve. One bad thing I think in manhood and something that I've noticed is that, and I think, to maybe just to the lack of knowledge or whatever, older guys, and I've noticed it, because I've said it in a sense, and had to start checking myself. You don't evolve with time. You evolve with trying to evolve. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to, you have to seek that. You have to try to, do those things. And so, when it comes to, like you said, business, of course we're going to push to make more money. In football, of course we're going to push to have more wins, better stats. Why we should seek those same things in our personal life, Is our relationship with our friends better? Is our relationship with our family better? Is our relationship with our wife better? How are the people around us behaving now, since we've made a quote-unquote change, you know what I mean, in our lives? So
the biggest deal, the backdrop of everything you just said is that effort.
Yeah.
And with effort, you should be hoping to see progress. Right. Why do we need to be accountable? Because accountability is going to promote effort amongst each other. So if we tell ourselves we don't do that.
That begs the question, to our audience, what are we being accountable for? You know what I mean? In terms of men, like, we said that, about 1,000 times already through this episode, like, but what exactly are we being accountable for? So it begs the question, to our audience, because we said accountability like a bunch of times. So what exactly are we being accountable for? Really? Oh my God. Might be out the frame.
Right. I would say, man, one thing or a group or what? Just really everything. I think just so many times, I think in society, one thing we always say, when we see somebody mess up or make a crazy mistake, one of the things I think you wonder is just, who did he have in his corner? You know what I mean? Like, when you see, unfortunately, if you see a celebrity making a mistake or you see them doing something like that, you think, man, who, like, the first thing I think we say is, like, man, like, he ain't got nobody in his circle. You know what I mean? Like that. So I would say we're accountable for sure. I think first we would definitely say spiritually, but I think we're also accountable for just the way we handle our family. I think that's the first thing. I don't personally, I think there are men who are successful by the world standards in a sense, have money and all these types of things. But if home isn't right, as a man, honestly, that's your first real responsibility. I think nothing is right. And so, and one weird thing about it is the fact that we as men, we don't really like to. Technically, I guess you're not supposed to tell a man how to run his house or anything like that. But if this is your brother, if this is somebody that you really consider yourself close to, and somebody that you really consider yourself like, iron sharpens iron type guy, I think if you see your boy taking any missteps or doing anything like that, and he comes to you, I'm not saying you gotta budget his business in a sense, but if it's showing telltale signs like that there's things going on at home, I think that you definitely need to ask your boy about it. And if he gives you, some insight on what's going on, and it's something that, deep down at the core of him that isn't him, I think you have to address it. You know what I mean? Like family, like first, for sure is one thing that, we have to hold accountable. Because I think we see so many examples of, wife not being right, kids not being right, parents not being right. You know what I mean? All these things. And when we have the knowledge, we're called to cultivate that in the people around us. You know what I mean?
I think it touches really everything. From, especially from being a young man all the way up, just being accountable for your work ethic, be accountable for your word, saying what you're saying, meaning that and doing that. Whether it's being in a relationship and, you got wandering eyes and you got, your brother to check, hey man, you got to hold that higher standard. Being accountable for that high standard of living, a godly man, a respectable man, an honorable man. Those are a lot of traits that, one, are free, but you don't see a lot of people nowadays in our society really carrying themselves and holding themselves to that standard. So I think as, just holding other men accountable, I think though that core of being honorable, being godly, being a leader, being a hard worker, being in control of oneself, not always operating on emotions, so many different things. I think you always need that group to hold you accountable because, let's be real, life's hard and the enemy gonna come at you. He's going to come at you. So you really need that strong support system. So when you are feeling a little weak and slipping up, you got somebody to be like, nah, man, let's go, tighten up, I got you. Let's go. And then not only that, you have to be, the whole thing about accountability is you have to be willing to be, one, transparent and be open with that group of men. Because, you hear a lot of men, that one, they're not even open with it, they're not honest with it. Two, when they are getting checked, they want to pop off and stuff like that. But no, sometimes, sometimes it's going to take you getting offended to a certain extent to change and to be better. Everybody's scared nowadays just to get offended. That's the big thing nowadays. Everybody don't want to get offended about what people say. But if you my brother, and you weigh on left side, sometimes I'm gonna do it in a respectful way. But sometimes I need to offend you a little bit.
It's like if you said that you want to be the starting whatever.
Right.
I can only hold you to that standard. Right. You get what I'm saying? So now, if you're a person that does what you want and you don't ask to be held to any standard, then I may tell you something here and there, but I'm not going to feel compelled as much to tell you something. But if you tell me, man, look, I want to be the best man in this, I want to be the best man in my house, I want to be, the person that does this in my family.
It's the football.
Exactly.
I'm trying to be the starter next season.
Well, hey, look, man, you got to do more than anybody will ever do because one, you're the leader, and two, you have to be prepared for the good, the bad, the ugly, and when the funny part about it, like quarterbacks, when they win, they get all the credit. When they lose, they get all the blame. So you got to be ready for the good and the bad of everything.
It's so crazy. You said accountability, in my opinion, it gives you the opportunity to live on purpose. I think from the time we're born until young men, even through college, our mindset is random. We just go with how the day comes. Right. When you get in the real world and you try that, you get ate a lot. You will feel it. You will feel it. Accountability gives you the opportunity to do things intentionally. Because when other people are with you, you take it away from yourself. When you yourself you just get to hide behind your mistakes.
That's money right
And you get to hide behind anything that you don't want people to see.
Right.
So if you can get over that fear of being transparent with somebody, that's a cheat code. You can grow.
I mean,
Because
just look at
if I'm trash right now at 23, but I'm being transparent with my trash, by the time I'm 30,
Right.
I'll be straight.
I mean, just look at it. That's why the enemy, like, and it's crazy because, you know, we try to rationalize it, but that's why you always try to keep your sin, like, you know, hidden and isolated, because if it's isolated, now, you know, other people can't help you in that sin. But if you be open about it, hey, I struggle with X, Y, and Z, I'm just being real with it, you know. So
and
now
one
you
of
get
the
that
biggest
help.
things 2 years ago, when we were sitting around talking, and then you realize other people got some of the same problems that you have.
Right.
And you just spent 19 years of your life thinking, dang, I'm the only one doing this.
Right.
I'm gonna act like it's up. But that, like, you change.
Yeah.
So that promotes. One of the biggest deals with accountability, since that's our word, with anything business, football, you plant a seed.
Yeah.
You can plant a seed in a 7th grader right now, and he can end up becoming the best player in America.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes that. Sometimes we get afraid of the time that it might take. Sometimes we get afraid of the fact that that 7th grader won't go to the All-American camp in 8th grade. It might take 5 years for him to get there.
Right.
But that seed you planted back then was able to grow and grow and grow and blossom. And when he blossomed, he inspired other people to want to plant seeds to more 7th graders.
I think
and
that's what you
Florida
said
is.
about being afraid. You know, that's something that's you know, I had to check myself, man, especially when we started our accountability group, because one of the things that I really had to tell myself was no going back.
Oh yeah.
And that's a scary thing, man, when you've been
Right.
dealing with something for a long time, or like, because in a sense, there's a comfortability in being complacent. You know what I mean? Like that, you don't have to stretch. You don't have to do more than you've ever done. You just have to do what you've always done. But like I said, who do you want to be?
Right.
Do you want to be the guy that, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna just coast or whatever like that? Or one of the things we always talk about, we want to be the best men that we can be for, you know, ourselves, for God, for our future families, for our friends, for the world, community, whoever. Like, you can't do that with doing the same things. You know what I mean? That's insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Like, you have to change. And so, you know, for me, I had to get over that fear. I really had, and dude, I ain't even lie, it's a daily thing. Because you can eat, that's the coolest part about it. You have to make that choice every day.
Right.
You gotta make that choice
Every day.
Like, you literally, you know what I mean? Like, that's why sometimes I'll send a random text like, how's everybody doing today?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it could be that day where you was just like, man, I don't know. You know what I mean?
And the enemy comes at you sideways because, you know, let's say you're going strong or whatever you're doing, you know, you're diligent at it, you're in day 100, you're like, man, I got this.
Right.
You know, never think like you just got it, you just, nah, because that's when you leave that little crack open, and, you know, it'll come from left field, be like, nah, I bet you want to count on this. You know what I mean? So you always gotta stay in guard, you know? You always have to stay in guard.
Whenever we first start a job or you first begin something new, no one just throws you into it and just expects for you to be, no one just throws you into it and expects for you to be perfect at it. Even if you're on your 50th year at a job, you're still probably going to make some mistakes. One of the most important things of seeing growth is forming habits. So when we talk about our daily interaction with trying to live this life, or our daily battles with trying to do anything, the more you continue to do it, the more practical it becomes. So we, like I said, and I always have to make this, tie, we allow that process with everything else we do in our world. If you're a piano player, you don't just come out the womb playing piano.
Right.
I mean,
Even if you have the talent,
exactly.
it still don't just happen.
Exactly.
It's a process.
Even if you are a world-class engineer, you didn't just come out the womb and start working at excellence.
Facts.
It took time to get there, and it took habits being formed to be able to even get to the point. And even still, they can be world-class and they still see mistakes.
Right.
With the accountability world, with a daily battle, we need to understand that there's going to be times where we're not as good as we should be. But just literally having the sense and being here enough to know that that wasn't okay, that means you're winning a battle.
Right.
Because we use football, it's called HuddleUP. So we use football, man, you know something could get better. But imagine being in a place where you literally don't even know that can be better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the scariest place to be.
Man, I look at, like me and Brian talked about before, you know, it's really not about being perfect, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, that is always the goal, but it's not so much about being perfect. Look at it like this, you know, you played receiver, you know, it would be naive to think that you're going to catch every ball that's ever thrown at you. Every ball, right, but you're going to try that. But with that being said, just because you know that you're not going to catch every ball that's ever thrown, does that mean you should still not go out practice and catch 1,000 balls a day? You know what I mean? No. Okay, I'm going to drop some, but I'm still going to put in this work so I can diminish that, you know, that amount as much as possible. Same thing with that daily walk.
One of my favorite, my senior quote was, and I say it all the time, it's not a Bible verse, but I forgot where I heard it. But you can pursue perfection and you may not get it, but you'll definitely catch excellence.
Right.
You're shooting for 100%.
Yep.
But you miss it, you're going to miss it. It's life. But you'll get 97. That's still an A+. You get what I'm saying? Like you're shooting. It's all about what you're shooting for. You know what I mean? And legitimately shooting for. Not just, well, you know, I'm trying to be, you know, my best could be to run a 4.5 or whatever like that. But I should still be shooting for that 4.3. You know what I mean? Like, because, I mean, yeah, that may be my best, but can I push for more? Is there more in me? You have to ask yourself that. So with the daily battle, you know, one of the things I think about with my daily battle that I definitely struggle with, and I know a lot of men struggle with, was lust.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's something that, you know, we all struggle with, you know, as men on a daily basis. And, you know, in society these days, and you know, we're realistic about things, man. We, you know, you love, you know, beautiful women, you love, you know, like that for sure. But at the same time, dude, like, you know, you have to have self-control because we look at so many examples these days to where, you know, it's a guy who or had like a family or had things going for himself, and you know, it may not always be cheating, it may not always be whatever, but one little mistake or one, you know, slip up of just not being on guard of self-control, and then boom, your whole life, you know, is changed. You know what I mean? And you know, you hurt yourself, people around you, like all these types of things. So, you know, for me, man, accountability definitely helped me in that aspect because, you know, I got the chance to really get around some men and some brothers that, you know, knew who I was trying to become, knew that I wasn't perfect, but said, hey, it's all about calling you to the highest version of yourself. Right? You know what I mean? And so for me, you know, that was the biggest thing for me as far as dealing with that in my daily battle.
I think it promotes learning. It promotes wanting to seek and find different answers. Like, you know, ever since we've been doing this, it makes you want to know why. So we saying we should stop masturbating, or we saying we should stop lusting. Let's see why. So when you go and find the answers and you start living in the world, then you start to see the answers of why.
Yeah, it affects them.
And it makes it effect.
Right.
But if we always was to hide and to run away from accountability, we would never see why not doing certain things. So I think that's such a blessing to the person that I've been around that, not going to speak for me, because whenever you really get into his word is the playbook. And we are running the routes and we're throwing the ball to each other and stuff like that. But if we don't learn the plays, we'll never be able to apply anything.
Right. You got the best time in the world. You don't know the plays. You're supposed to be running the slants. You're running the goal. I just blew a pick six and we lose. You know what I mean?
Let me throw something in there.
You'll take a guy. Oh, go ahead.
Let me throw something in there real quick. Playing and coaching for who we coach for. Some of the most amazing kids in the world. They were not the most talented. But sometimes we would play against teams that had more talent, more things going for them. But up here, knowledge-wise, not saying they were dumb, but they went together on the same page mentally.
Right.
And you can tell in their actions. So you can take the pluses of what's naturally given and diminish that with people being on the same page. Same thing with this walk. Right. We can show worldly things. We can be rich. We can have all of this. But it can crumble with one little mistake like that.
Man, that's crazy that you're missing that because I've always said, I know Byron definitely knows this. I said, you know, like clockwork, because we're always, once you understand this perspective, you know, it could really change and alter how you like live day to day. Because you're one step from being Steve Jobs. You're one step from being that great successful that the world has never seen, but with that, you're also one step from being right on the street with that homeless man. Like, you're one bad move from both. You know what I mean? So when you live your life and understand that, man, like, there's, you know, God's grace is definitely sufficient, but there are consequences to our actions. And if we can, you know, I guess, diminish that by being accountable for each other and holding each other to a standard and having discipline in oneself, man, I think that's the best route to go through life.
And we get more people in the boat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I don't know about you, but I do know. It's no fun, like they say, ain't no fun the homies can have. You know what I mean? Like, it's really the truth. If I'm making $100 million and everybody else around me making $50,000, you can't go on none of the trips I'm going on.
Then you're not really successful.
Exactly. So
if you're
passing on, like,
you're not successful.
Like, it's not, if you didn't pass on the knowledge to your bros, to your family, to the people around you,
that really
like,
show your character.
Yes, because you're literally keeping it all for yourself. I ought to be, okay, say, bro, and we know you've done examples, we can talk about on camera, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, just be real. Like, but, you know, hey, bro, this is something, you know what I mean? Here you go. You know what I mean? Or if it's a job offer or something like that, yo, bro, I know somebody that needs somebody to do this. If that's something you specialize in or somewhere you can get opportunity. If I know you're the type of guy that is going to handle your business, do what you're supposed to do, be respectful, be on time, do all those things, I'm going to look out for you. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I say too? One of my things I always say personally, and I just be thinking this: if somebody share knowledge with you, they love you.
Oh my
Right.
God.
They love you, right? Because you know how many people can easily put people on with the simple things that they know, and they just don't like you enough to not tell you. Like, you're not going to tell everybody how to do everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's what's so great about accountability, because, you know, it's in direct, you know, alignment with paying it forward. Right. It's in direct alignment, you know what I mean? Because now you're paying it forward. The wisdom you got, the experiences you learned, the lessons God put you through, the pruning you had to go through. You're letting other men know, especially younger men, that, man, like, I did it this way. Bro, I'm telling you, there's potholes here, watch out for this. Man, look at the coverage. Right. Hey, if he does this, we're do that. I'm telling you the blueprint before you line up. So when you line up, now, you know, there's always going to be that people that got it. They got to see it firsthand. But if you can, you know, learn from other people's mistakes and missteps, man, like, you're so far ahead of the game. You know, that's real wisdom.
Exactly. Vicarious. Being a vicarious learner, man, I think I've saved myself from going through so many things. Right. And like you said, there are things that we saw for ourselves and had to get smacked in the face. Right. But there are other things that, you know, my dad back in the day, or my cousin may have said, or y'all may have said, like, say, bro, don't do this. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, I had a choice to either take it and be like, oh, man, whatever, I can do my own thing. Or I had a chance to take it and be like, well, maybe I need to not do that, or maybe I do need to do this if it's something positive, you know what I mean? Right. So being a vicarious learner, man, you know, just like I said, that accountability, it gives everybody the chance to just, you know, share experience, all these things like that, and make you feel like you can't be the strongest by yourself, you know what I mean? But you're the strongest in a group. When we all have each other to bounce off, if we're locked up, linked in arms or something like that, somebody tries to knock us down, it's a lot harder to do when you got 600 pounds rather than 200, you know what I mean? Like, it's different.
Who you talking about?
Man,
okay.
Like, just the things that we have to do to get to where we want to be is one of the most impressive things of mankind. Like, there's no one who can literally just say it was just all over. Especially as a man, as a woman, as anything.
You ain't doing nothing great. You ain't doing nothing worthwhile. If it's all in the breeze, you can't be doing something worthwhile.
So, with that being said, like, what it means to be a man, one of the most important things is that vulnerability that we talked about. The less vulnerable you are, it's like you create more problems for yourself.
Right.
Because manhood is something that you can't do alone. Like you said, you don't come out the womb knowing anything, basically. You only go off of what you see. So what you've seen was wrong for the past 18 years.
You're going to recycle it.
You're going to recycle it. So manhood is a choice, in my opinion, as well.
Absolutely.
It's a choice of growth, or it's a choice of decline. But once you met with that option, and once you finally realize you have that choice, I think it's important to understand vulnerability is your best way to
I think manhood is about cultivation and changing a culture when you see it when it sees fit. You know what I mean? There's things, you know, in society. There's things that you may notice in your household. I know for sure in mine personally. You know, it's not a whole lot of men in my family. You know what I mean? So I feel the need to be a strong Christian man for my family. You know what I mean? And you know, my dad passed away at 13. My grandpa passed away. They all passed away in the same year. And so that was a big blow for us. You know what I mean? And you know, I started to see the change in things. And not that, you know, my mom was one of the strongest women I know. My mom was a single mom, you know, by being a widow. But you know, at the end of the day, as strong as my mom is, you know, I know that she had that want from my dad at that time, and thankfully, you know, she has someone in her life now. But you know, it's that want for that strong Christian man to be, you know, around the house, to be, you know, doing things and just setting that example. And for me, growing up as a child, that was something I got to see, and you know, it was amazing. You know, the only regret I have about it is that, you know, he passed away. I was so young, I didn't have a real chance to know and appreciate it. But with that being said, you know, I started to see things when my dad passed away, and all those strong men of God passed away. You know, more pride in the family, less forgiveness. You know what I mean? Less love sometimes. You know what I mean? And you would think, you know, because men, we aren't the most, I guess, like naturally, you know, soft, like nurturing or whatever. But man, like just the fact that a man can take his arms around everybody else and bring them together, like that may not be like the world's way of like just love, like soft love, but that's love. You know what I mean? Having somebody that put their arm around you and just, you know, bring everybody together. So for me, manhood is just about, you know, changing that culture and cultivation and seeing when there's a problem. Okay, what can we do to attack this and fix it? You know what I mean?
Man, I think being a man, man, it's really, the three words that come to mind is honor, integrity, and leadership. Man, I think as a man, especially in today's society, man, like, you have to have those three things, you know what I mean? And in order to be the last one, to be a great leader, you need honor and integrity. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like families, you know, just in general, are thirsting for a leader. And that's what, you know, being a man is to be able to not only lead yourself and hold yourself accountable, but to be able to lead, you know, your family first, and then like the friends and people that you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to, you know, stand firm. You know what I mean? Like, you're the first line of defense. Like, you're the general. Like, right. You the rock. You the thing that keeps everything together. Not, you know, I'm not, you know, dumbing down the importance of anybody else's role. I'm just saying, as the man, you know, like, you have to carry yourself a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, because if you don't, the family is susceptible to attack. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at today's society, man. Like, the first thing the enemy does what? Take the man away. Whether it be through jail, whether it be through systematic oppression, whatever it is. The first thing he does is remove the man. You know what I mean? Not saying that families still can't be successful. They definitely can. God's grace is sufficient. But yeah, it makes it a whole lot harder. But when you got that godly man, you know, standing firm and carrying himself the right way, not budging, not moving, you know, not swayed by, you know, just regular temptations, because he's already went through the test of fire in those seasons of his life, so he can stand firm with the family. Bro, like, that's, man, like, I think that's just how it was designed.
But you know, one thing I think, as far as, you know, I think about, like you said, taking a man away from, say the fact there's a family with a single mom and stuff like that. Or there still needs to be, that's why I remember my grandparents and always used to say, back in the day, in the neighborhood, everybody knew their neighbors. You know what I mean? That's something that, like, a lot of people these days are on some stuff, like, you know, well, some people, but they don't, you know, neighbors don't talk anymore and stuff like that. Like, and back in the day, everybody was your mama. Everybody was your daddy. You know what I'm saying?
They'll check you real quick.
They'll check you. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. You know, if it's a man who really has that real integrity and stuff like that. You know, we all see, like, we may have kids or somebody in our life, you know, like, you know, younger guys that we think after, to where, you know, they may not have that father figure. You have to step in. As men, we see that there's so many broken homes and things that's going on in society. We may have to step in other situations. Not saying you always gotta be, you know, dad like that, but, you know, be that example, be that mentor, you know what I mean? Be relative to them, you know, speak to them, but actually, you know, show them that you care, because I know for a fact, man, one thing as a coach, one of the coolest things I can say is, I think my kids know for a fact that I have their back at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Now, if you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're right. You feel me? Because you know the standard, and that's what I'm gonna hold you about. But at the end of the day, me telling you something is because I care about you and I got you back. And I think in society and you know, just around, it's, you know, broken homes are what they are. And there's so many reasons why things happen. People die, you know, people walk away, all these types of things. But, you know, if we see that, okay, this broke over here, well, let me see if I can go and try to help that out, you know what I mean? And like I said, the more people we have in that boat, I think that improves the chances of everybody doing better. And now you have more and more and more and more change and you know, just it just be a beautiful effect to see more people, you know, actually linking together and helping each other. And man, I just think, you know, that's something that's so big these days that we're missing.
Right. Because, I mean, let's be honest, like, nowadays, man, some kids, like, they never see, like, what a godly man looks like. You know what I mean? How he moves, how he loves, how he, you know, is transparent, how he works, his work ethic. They really don't see that, or they don't see a lot of it. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, yeah, you might see it, but you might see it on TV. Or that's not really tangible. I can't really see that. But if you got people like in your life, you know, saying, hey, man, or like a coach or a mentor or just somebody that's around the neighborhood that you see a man, like, man, I like the way he moves. I like the way he carries himself. He's always respectful. And then I think I don't know when it was happening. You know, obviously I wasn't living. But there's been a disconnect, you know, when men check men. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, there's a certain respectable way to do it. But if you see, you know, your little brother or whatever, or your little homie, like, messing up, you can bring him to the side and be like, hey, man, like, this is not how we're supposed to do this. You know what I mean? We supposed to, this how you talk to women. This how you carry yourself. You're not supposed to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? You're supposed to, you know, shake a man's hand firm, look him in the eyes, all of that stuff. Like, I feel like, you know, there was a disconnect and we kind of missed it. And then now it kind of, I mean, we see the effects of that.
But yeah, I definitely think little things like that, man, are so big. You know, I go to my mom's school every once in a while. She'll have to, like, you know, meet a kid or something like that. And, you know, they're usually shy, you know, that type of stuff. They shake your hand, they don't really look. Right. Hey, man, like, look me, you know, in my eyes, shake my hand, like those types of things. It's just things like that we learn, you know, and that I think to no one's fault, but became a little relaxed, you know, in society. And you know, the littlest things are the big things. Greatness is nothing but a bunch of little actions all together, you know what I mean? So, you know, little things like that, like, you know, shaking a man's hand and looking him in the eye, or you know, speaking up, or, you know, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, like things like that. I know people look at it as so traditional and it's just boring, this or that.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Nothing's wrong sometimes, but nothing's wrong with respect, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody in the world wants respect. I think everybody deserves respect, but you gotta, you know, your presence has to kind of command that. And one thing about respect, you have to give it to get it. I think that's so, you know, everybody wants to walk into a room and just respect me.
Yeah, I'm a bum.
No, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to come in the room and you know, shake your hand and stuff like that. Chris, how you doing, man? I'm shaking your hand, looking you in the eye. Right. You know, I'm respecting you as a man, you know what I mean? Like, those things are such a big deal, and I think, you know, we've become so lax in that to the point where, you know, man, like, just being honest, like, there's certain things like, you know, I remember back in the day, like, if I was watching TV or something like that, and there's like something cursing on it or something like that, I was gonna turn it down. I turn it off. Just, you know what I mean? Like, just off the strength. Like, not that they make it. Yeah, like,
y'all turn the radio,
like stuff like that. People don't do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Or like the language, man. Like, you know, when women are present, you know,
clean that up a little. Right. You know, like, and let's get it. You know, they have that struggle and stuff like that. But, you know, it's a way to do things, man. and it's a way to, you know, carry yourself. You're supposed to be trying to improve anyway.
Right.
So why not, you know, work on it then, especially when you're in the presence of people that you respect, and you know, those things are important.
A lot of the times, you know, when people look at stuff like that, they will always think, or always just have the assumption, rightfully so, that it's cap or it's fake.
Right.
And then one of the deals with living like how we're trying to live, you're gonna be able to see if it's real or not. The fruit that you produce is you're gonna be able to see it.
Right.
Like it's gonna be something obvious that you don't have to say, hey, look at this, hey, look at that. Like whenever you live a righteous life, whenever you're attempting to get better at certain things, whenever you walk around with respect, the community will notice that your actions, the fruit that you bear will always be obvious that you've been sowing.
Right.
So, you know, one of the biggest things personally that I've been trying to get away from is social media. You know, for the past 7 months, I've been trying to make sure I get off it. But,
Like for how long?
I mean, like, I'll spend the weekend on it, maybe. You know, but during the week, like, it's gone. But now I'm starting to see, like, that's really one of the best things that was really ever created. Because you know how many people's eyes was able to get open to stuff that they maybe never knew before? You know how many times you're able to see your friend? Like, think about it. One of our good friends, Boston Scott. We knew he was on this journey for the past 10 years.
Right.
Social media allowed us to see, oh, this is tangible.
Right.
You know, and that's just a shout out to him, and shout out to the same thing with y'all. We weren't always, you went to a different college, I went to a different college, you went to a different college.
Different states too.
And then we were kind of living the same lives at different places. You know what I mean? So, you know.
I mean, I think it's all about your perspective. One, too much of anything is bad for you, you know. But if you, like, man, social media could be phenomenal if you use it in the right ways. You know what I mean? And that's just like anything, like anything. Like if you use anything like in a negative sense or with a negative motive, bro, it can destroy your life. From social media to women to self-ambition to money to car to whatever it is to lust, man. Anything. If you don't come at it the right way, man, it could ruin not only your life, but the people around you and generations after you.
Seriously, like it's you have to. There's a direction to anything, you know what I mean? And you may have, like you said, ambition is one that I think about. That's so big. I see a lot of people, you know, don't chase love, chase money, or don't do this, chase money. Don't do this, chase money. Dude, I get it. We all have to survive. We all have to do certain things. But at the same time, you know, it's all about what you put that energy to. You know what I mean? Like what direction do you put it in? Like you said, lust. You know, you could either lust after your wife, or you could lust after all other women in the world. You know, and you see where that gets. You know what I mean? You lusted after your wife. This is home. This is safe. This is it. You lusted after every woman in the world. You got 30 babies. You know what I mean? Like all that type of stuff. And I mean, you know, there's some people that have to live that life, unfortunately, because you know we don't take into account how big our decisions are. As men, you set the tone, and I know for a fact, man. Like you know, just being in the house I live with all women. Thank God we got a boy dog, Dash. But you know, men's choices are such a big deal. My mom love me. If I say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, oh my gosh.
Trust me.
I know, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, if you say something, you have to do it. And that's what being a man is. They hold you accountable. You know what I mean? Women may not even know why they do it. I don't know if they do, but they know for a fact that when you say something, you better be backing up on that word, you know what I mean, that action.
They're gonna remember.
Always.
They're gonna remember.
I mean, I agree completely. I agree with all that. I mean, and that's why, you know, I mean, in essence, that's why we're doing this. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important for, you know, one us to hold ourselves accountable, then us to hold each other accountable, and then give it to y'all. You know what I mean? So now you can, wherever you're at, you can have that group and hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? Whether it's on a football field, whether it's on a volleyball court, whether it's in wherever, whatever, man. Just be able to, hold yourself to that.
Big deal. Let's pause this real quick, my bad. Big deal. This don't have to be lame. Because if you're a wide out, he'll lock you up. If you're a cornerback, you can't hold him. If you want to talk about money, if you want to talk about offensive line, like you can still be excellent in the world and serve the Lord. Absolutely. A lot of the times we be thinking that's like, bro, we got rich people.
Why is that? Why is there a connotation that you can't serve the Lord? Right. I'm in complete disagreement, with that connotation. Man, like you can't be godly and still be successful and still look the part and still enjoy life. You know what I mean?
It feels even better because you get to walk around in peace, knowing that you're not. Dang, am I doing this wrong? But I don't care. I got money. Nobody want to live like that. I want to go to sleep at night and understand. Hey, if I was to die today, I'd have did some good work on this earth. Right. I don't want to go to sleep thinking like, oh my goodness, man. I got everything I want in the world, but
I mean, one of my biggest focus, and I know y'all know this, every day I say it's something I live by. Every day we got to get better mentally, physically, and spiritually. And then not only that, like, man, when I meet God, I want him to be like, man, you squeezed out life. Right. Everything I had you to do, man, you did it all. You know what I mean? I think that's a great life, man. I don't want him to be like, oh man, like, of course you get in, like you in. But man, I had books I needed you to write. I had thousands of people you need to touch. I had this, and I'm looking like, man, what was I so focused on? Like that stuff don't even matter, right? So man, I'm trying to get this purpose, get this destiny, and finish life squeezed out.
It gets a bad rap, I think, because it's not easy, but man, for me, I can say, and like I said, we're all, like, none of us are married yet, you know what I mean? So we're still learning and struggling and, have things going on, but at the same time, I have more peace now than I've had in years, just because I have something else to lean on, I have something else to, when I get knocked out or when, like we just get the chance to rub off on each other. And, I agree with you, man, on that, I think, being a godly man, it just has this connotation that you can't, have fun, you can't enjoy life, you can't do things. We all still enjoy music, we all still enjoy movies, we still enjoy playing the game.
Still compete.
We compete. We're not, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I can tell you, what? Like, man, bro, I tell my kids quick, like, don't let this cross on this shirt fool you and done them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a different type of grind you get exposed to. Right. Because what we talking about is hard. Yeah. It's really, honestly, it's hard because it's an everyday focus, an everyday battle. So if you're talking about that, if you can focus on this, man, the stuff in the world easy.
Right, that's easy.
That's easy. Right. Oh, go invest in stocks. That's easy. Go invest in. Let's say that if I can figure out how to serve the God who created all of this, right? If I can get better every day and want to have a passion to do that, anything in the world is achievable.
But you know what it does. But the funny thing about that is, you say, when we're thinking opposite, and I know I was for sure with football. You make all that other stuff so big, you make God small. Exactly. This flips it. It makes God bigger, and it makes everything else smaller. And think about it. When you're serving and doing the right things, and you're striving for that, that's your standard. That's your only standard. All that other stuff just comes with it as a byproduct.
Bro, what he say? You know what he said? Seek first the kingdom of God.
Every day. It literally takes everything else, and it makes it so small. And you're shooting. This is God, that's your standard. You're shooting for this. The parts of you are breaking and all that stuff, but not, it's raining on everything else. You know what I mean? Like, it's all coming together because you flip your focus. I know for me, man, like, with acting or whatever like that, like, I don't approach it the same way I approach football. And it's so crazy because at one point, it was always, do this. You know what I mean? But now I'm at the place where, sometimes God does want me to do that. We'll go in and pop audition. We'll be there for 3 hours or whatever. But, sometimes we're in there cultivating our spirit, talking about things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always just us sitting there and reading the Bible.
Man, bro, you can really see him move.
Absolutely.
You can see him move, and then he'll kind of make the path for you.
Yeah. And not only that,
still got to work.
The confidence you have with it
it's
so different. Like you said, like I know for me, like the whole football, I guess, of course I was saying, man, God's gonna make this happen. I'm praying, I'm making all these sacrifices. But I guess I still put a lot of, weight in my work ethic, grinding 3 times a day, doing all these things. You know what I mean? I still kind of put some weight in like that. But now, like the way I approach his life in general and everything, even law school, man, all of it, man. It's all him. It's all him. It ain't because I'm smart. It ain't because I'm handsome. It ain't because of none of that. It's because, man, he's doing it. I can't take credit for none of that. You know what I mean? Like, and I look at that, man, I'm trying to take that approach, that perspective, and that mindset of everything. With my wife, man, the only reason I got her because of him. The only reason I did this, because
think about how, if you get in him, think about how much you're going to respect everything that you got.
Right.
Like, what you got,
because it ain't because of you.
And you know what that does? It goes back to what we talked about, accountability. Because you got to stay connected to that in order to keep you got to stay plugged. You got to, if I want that light to be on, right, I got to keep it plugged into the source.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then like, oh, the light on, so let me plug it out and move as well.
Man, like the biggest, man, I've prayed this prayer so many times. Because like I said, I feel like that connection is gotten me everything I am and I have. It's just, man, like, whatever you do, God, just don't take your hand off me. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you do. And that's why, I think that's why discipline, accountability, carrying yourself a certain way, like living to that standard or trying your best to live that standard. And you know what your best is. He definitely knows what your best is. Because I don't want him to be like, all right, you want to do it? Do it yourself. No, I don't want it. I mean, even with the whole NFL thing, like, man, it was a hard prayer to pray, but at a point, I was like, man, God, honestly, if you're not in it with me, I don't even want it. I don't even want it because we see day in and day out like stories about like how that lifestyle, that whatever has like ruined people, like not only people's families that kill themselves, like do all that. Man, if you're not in it, I don't want it.
One of the biggest principles that's preached and one of the biggest principles that's taught. If you faithful with a little,
right?
He gonna give you a lot.
Right from the minute.
Right. Just that stuff show you, like, man, if you start off and you're getting a lot and you're not faithful to it, what's the worth if you lose it?
Right.
You don't even respect the blessings that you have.
Appreciation is a gift.
It's really a gift.
Appreciation itself is a gift.
It's really a gift.
When you have something that, I ain't going to even say that you had to work for it, because I think, we overuse work.
Right.
Just something that, you long for, or something that, I know
God put in your heart.
that God put in your heart for a long time. If you don't appreciate it, man, that in itself is a curse. Because you're literally taking something that God put in your heart and you're just trashing it like it's just, something that you can get every day. Like, you know for a fact, I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday about this, but, man, I can't remember exactly what I related it to, but we were talking about our wives. And we were talking about
future wives.
Future wives. No married. No ring. But our future wives, we were talking about, you're going to, especially as men, we're going to have that process of, making sure the right people are around, within that process. And dude, think about it. Think about how many talks, I've known you since I was, 14?
Yeah.
How many talks you had about our wife? That woman. You know what I mean? Like that woman. Think about when you actually meet that woman. And I know you're sitting there thinking about it right now.
Everything you dreamed
that
of.
is literally everything you dreamed of. If you can't appreciate that,
Like, that's crazy.
that is like I couldn't imagine like you being in a place like you long for this woman. You come to me and you tell me about it and you like, that ain't nothing. I'm like, Chris, what's wrong with you?
And I think here's the key. To appreciate it now before you even see it.
Yes.
I think that's when you're on that next level. To be like, man, I know, because I always look at it like that, and that's why, like, you gotta live yourself. Because I don't want to meet her and be like, man, you're not ready. Like, you haven't been living how you're supposed to be living. You're not doing, you busy doing X, Y, and Z. God said, man, she's right here.
Right.
You just not, man, I'm trying to be prepared. And when opportunity, because life is going to give you, God is going to give you the opportunities in life. Whether it be business, whether it be with your wife, whether it be whatever. But if you're not prepared, you know what I mean? And that means mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. If you're not prepared, man, you gonna miss out.
So,
and that happens with people, right.
That's the worst part.
Right.
You don't just wake up and you have the Super Bowl.
They don't have
You gotta play PB.
Right.
High school. You gotta play college. You gotta, get drafted. There's a process to
You gotta
everything.
play preseason.
And then you gotta play preseason. You gotta make the team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta go to camp.
Right.
Like, all that type of stuff you have to go through. It's a preparation stage. So, I would say to anybody, if there's something that you want or if there's something that you're longing for and if you're a Christian, like, it's something that you're asking God for and and you really believe that He's going to present you with that, start preparing now. You don't get ready for a test on the day of the test. You're in law school.
Because, day of the test, ain't no cramming. Trust me.
The bar
ain't no cramming for the bar exam.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to take the bar exam. You can't get ready for the bar exam the day of the bar.
Right.
You got to get ready for the bar exam.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say
like
months.
before,
Right.
it's literally
Right.
something that you have. It's something that it's big. It's huge. It's the biggest thing you've ever wanted. And we're human. We have things on earth that we want.
Right.
Cool. You drive a Ferrari or a Lambo or whatever like that. You don't drive that like you drive the Volvo that you had.
You're right about that.
You got to have
appreciation.
You got to be ready. You got to be ready to have that. But the days in that Volvo is why you appreciate that Ferrari or that Lambo or that Aston Martin that I know you want. You know what I mean? Like those things are huge.
You want to Aston Martin?
Bro,
You did that.
All
right.
Another question? All right, guys, we want to thank you for just joining us. It's a great episode. First episode of Huddle Up, the podcast. I just want to say, so many of the things that we've said in this conversation, and it is that it's a conversation. We try to use in our daily life, but all we want is for for you guys to take that and use it, start the conversation in your life. You could have anything that you're trying to do: business, sports, fashion, acting, writing, music, whatever. And have an accountability group. Have people that you look up to, or people that also want to reach a high level like you want to, and just start the conversation. And it could be about life. It could be about a billion things. Within this podcast, like I said, this is the first episode. We're going to talk about a lot of things on here. This is just at the end of the day. We are reaching out to you guys. This is just friends right here having a conversation. We want you guys to do the same thing. So.
Women too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely get yourself accountability. So it's not just a men exclusive thing. Women definitely have accountability group and definitely do the same thing.
And don't be afraid. And I hope we get to this point where men and women, we come together and have honest talks about who we are. Why we're different. But within those things, how we can cultivate each other and grow. Because I think in society we're missing that a lot. And like I said, it's about accountability. It's about people. Separate people coming together and lifting each other higher, calling each other to their highest version of themselves. So I just want to thank you guys for just coming, watching this first episode. We're going to post more things, and like I said, we want to talk about so many things within the different episodes we have. We're going to post it on Instagram and also YouTube and also on our separate Twitter pages. My Instagram is bjohnsonofficial on Instagram. Chris?
My Instagram is Christ.is.king.34. Make sure it's dot, it's not underscore.
My Instagram is Terry Minor 23. All together. I was thinking about this one.
Said like I had a couple spaces. But guys, like I said, thank you so much for tuning into this, and we just want you to just continue to just grow and just continue to just enjoy life, but also just become the best versions of yourself. And thank you for joining the Huddle, and don't forget to huddle up.
Right. Go deep.